Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome to my video. Welcome to my stream. Good to see you all here. What are we doing today? Well, today we are going to finish up Maverick's F-14 from the movie Top Gun. This guy. We're finishing up. Where are we? Where is the plane, right? So you don't see it. Where is it? Well, it is right here. We are not quite done, but as you can see, I've added some decals to it. Let's see. Let's see there. I'll show you on that camera. We'll show you on this camera. Come on, focus for me. Focus, focus, focus. Come on, folks. There we go. Nice decals everywhere, everywhere on this thing, even including the USS Enterprise that does not come with the Revell kit, but is clearly on the plane in the movie. So obviously I've done some panel lining, I've done all the weathering effects on there that I plan to do. Not too much on the bottom, I did a little bit in the middle there, but not too much. Yeah, we are just about ready. So, what did I do? I added decals. I put the decals on here from the other kit, from the Revell kit. I don't have really many decals left. What else we got here? So this is about all that's left of the decal sheet. This is the instrument clusters on the, or the panels and switches and stuff inside the cockpit. All these little black stripes, these actually are supposed to go on the hook for the aircraft carrier, but I went and painted them. Oh well, that's all right. We've got about 40 different no-step decals that I'm not going to bother doing, and why? Well, this is an F-14 Tomcat there. Hakim. Is it Hakim? Is that pronounced right? Yeah, F-14 Tomcat from the movie Top Gun. This is Maverick's F-14. So as I was saying, I'm not bothering with all the no-step decals on here because they're small, they're light, and I mean, honestly, what's the US thinking? Why do we need to have 50 different areas that says no step on an aircraft when they could just say, you know what, let's just put a label that says step here and put it in the very few spots that they would allow you to actually, where you're supposed to step on an aircraft when you're working on it or whatever. But anyway, that's just me. So I'm not bothering with all the no step decals. It's just it's a detail that kind of really just doesn't really get noticed, and it doesn't hurt the overall look whether they're there or not. So that being said, we got to finish putting this together. Yeah, well, it would be scary to see one of these flying because, well, it might shoot you down, right? Okay, so the wings are going to go on last. We have the tail fins. So I'll put these on first. As you can see, I've got the decals on the tail fins. And it's going to go on there like that. And then this one is a much looser fit, so it won't stay by itself. It just falls off. Okay? But this one is a tight fit, and it doesn't quite line up perfectly, but I'll get it as close as I can. And I'll put some glue there. And that'll be good enough, I think. As I said, we're just in the final stages. This is going to be finished today, and it'll be done and done. And I can move on to my next project, which is Gundams. So, the question is, how badly do I want it to line up at the nose? I think I want it like that. So, do a little bit of glue. holder, just like that. Okay, here's one. I'll put a little bit more just right here, just to make sure it stays put. Now, where'd the other one go? There it is. So, this one, I want it to hold by itself, so let's put some glue down here. I said stay put. You're supposed to stay. With my big hands. Well, you know, a lot of it is just figuring out where to put your hands so that they stay steady. If you're trying to, I don't know, let's take this. I'm trying to draw a line. I'm going to put my hand on a certain spot to balance my hand so I'm not trying to hold it up in the air and shake like this. Look like I got Parkinson's for a sec there. But you know what I mean? Like you put your hands there, and now I can draw a nice, you know, line, really nice and steady and straight without really balancing my hand so much, and I'm just moving my fingers. So yeah. But I don't know. I don't think I've got big hands. What's that? What was that rule as a kid? You know, if your hand's bigger than your face, then you've got cancer or something like that. Something kind of thing. Get everybody to go, oh hey, my hand's bigger than my face. Ah, right. Anyway, little things, games you play as kids. Okay, so those are on. Okay. Let's go with the engines. The engines have been ready to go on for quite a while now, but of course, saving it till the last little bit to actually put them on. That's lined up pretty good just like that. I'm going to take my glasses off here so I can see. Now I've got to tighten the bottle. Dab in there, dab down at the bottom. This, to me, a thin set glue is really fantastic, and how it just does that capillary action running down into the seams and just kind of disappears. Have it. One engine in. I want to put one more little dab of glue. There, I think will work. Let's see. I used to believe those. Yeah, that's right. It's kind of funny. This one is going to go in there. Just going to balance that on my leg for a sec here so I can keep a little bit of pressure on it. These poor engines have been sitting here for a couple of weeks waiting to actually go on this plane. Keep on asking me, when are you going to install me? Come on, get to it. Have patience, you know, you gotta have patience with these. If you don't have patience and you try and rush it, well, you usually wind up making a mess of it, and at the end of the day, it's not a good day. Alright, so my tail fins don't look like they're sitting down quite all the way that they should be. Yeah, that one's just snugged down better. So that's good. This one don't look so good though. But that's okay. Alright, both engines are in. Considering how big the engine is, I'm going to go deaf when it flies above me. Yeah, and it's not like they got mufflers on them or anything, right? Okay, so now with that done, we got to deal with the underside of this plane. And that means landing gear. But before we do that, I want to put this on the front, like so. Get that front part of the canopy on there. So as you may have noticed, or may not have noticed, this is the Tamiya version of the plane, of the F-14A Tomcat. But we're using the decals from Revell's F-14 Tomcat kit. So, but where is that kit, you might ask? Where's the Revell kit? Well, it is sitting over here. The Revell kit is actually finished. It's completely done, and I'm not doing any more to it. So this is really just the last assembly of the Tamiya kit that I'm doing here. Because there's so much more to assemble on the Tamiya kit than on the Revell kit. So that's why I'm focusing on the Tamiya kit here as the final part of the build. Okay, so let's get some landing gear on this thing. I have it already painted and ready to go on. All the pieces here. So these are the rear landing gears. I'm going to start with the front piece. This guy's going to go in here, like that. And line up the little pegs, just like so. I think that's how it goes. Yes. Just like that. Just like that. Yeah, the landing gear can be a bit of a challenge because it's so intricate. But again, with the Tamiya kits, it's a really precise fit and you don't really have any problems getting things to line up and go where they're supposed to. Unless, of course, you put it on wrong, like I just did. That's the way it's supposed to go. So there's a lesson for you. Put it together right and it'll go together nicely. Like I've said on many of my videos, I am not a professional at this. I make mistakes. I sometimes put things together backwards. But again, like I always say in my videos, you don't have to be a professional to get decent results. So, what else we got here? We have the bay doors for the rear. Like so. Now I think I'm going to refer to the instructions here because I know they do tell me a specific order in which to put these in, and Tamiya is really smart in letting you know which pieces to put on first. So I'm just going to refer to that really quickly on here so that I don't wind up screwing myself over. Okay, so the wheels go on first, and then we put our little bay doors on. Okay, fair enough. Wheels first. Okay, so these just go in. I gotta make sure I got lefts and rights correct on this. It's a bit of a tight fit, but it does fit like it should. There we go. All the little holes should line up, or the pegs should line up in the holes perfect. And of course, they do. Drop the glue in there. There. And in there. Just a little more, just to make sure that's going to stay permanent. Okay, let's flip this around. What do we got here? I gotta go. That's okay. That's all right, Hakeem. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for watching. Yeah, it's good talking to you too. Thanks again. Okay, so now this side. Say it's probably a little bit of a tighter fit because it's painted. Because the paint on there, right, makes it just a bit of a tight fit, but that's okay because, well, whatever process Tamiya uses in the sculpting and the molding of their stuff, it's, I don't know, I just want to say they did a fantastic job at getting this to go together nicely and line up. Everything lines up perfectly. Okay, now our little doors. Figure out which one is left and right. I think this one's going to be this side, yes. So our little pegs go in there. I suppose technically I could have put this door on first and then the wheel. It doesn't really make too much difference which one I did first. In this case, I am going to use my thicker glue. Put it on the little pegs to go in the holes. Just because it seems to be a little bit of a loose fit. go. Here's one side. Actually, I'm going to do this door here before I switch sides. I just have to determine which one is which. And that's going to be this one. So they've put these pieces that hang down to help locate it in that channel, which is extremely nice of Tamiya to do that. So I can just put glue on all three of these little things, and that'll hold it good enough. Without having to put any more glue on it. Unfortunately, there's no way I can get the camera in there to show you how it lines up on the inside here, but you just have to take my word that it fits in there. I don't know, maybe can you see on the inside there? If I angle it right, you can see how they sit right in there. All three of them. There's three little sections that is indented for all three of these little things, for all of these to just sit in there. Okay, this side is done. At least as far as the landing gear is concerned. Now we go with this one. I'm just going to do a test fit here to make sure. Yep, that looks good. Glasses off for safety. What? That doesn't work like that. Yeah, glasses off for being able to see. There's that one. I'm already anticipating that this is going to fit, so I'm not even going to test fit it. That can be risky, but that's okay. Just like that, done. Okay, what else we have on the bottom? Well, we're talking about the little carrier hook. That's got to go on here, and that goes just like that. I'm going to use my thin set for this one. Alright, now we have missiles, or missile pods, whatever you want to call them. That's these guys here. One on each side. We got lefts and rights. This one is going to go on this side, so I'll do that in a moment. Let's do a test fit on this. There's two little pegs to line up in the holes there. And they line up just like that. It's not going to sit on its own unless I turn the plane. There we go. And I can see how the angle's going to look. If I leave it just like that, I can put some thin set in there. Just leave that to dry like that for a moment. And then get in on this side and put a little bit, if I can. There we go. Now that was much easier than it was on the Revell kit. The Revell kit, I actually wound up having to hold the weapon pod in place for about a minute as the glue set. That should hold it. Let's see if I'm just as lucky with this side. Almost on the floor. There we go. Perfect. So now I got to be a little more careful of where I'm holding this thing as I'm working on it. Which again is why I waited until this final assembly. After everything is finally painted and done, now I'm assembling everything. All these delicate parts. That's that weapon pod. This thing is now dangerous. Okay. What else? We got these little chrome pieces that are supposed to go on the very tip of the air intake, and that's these guys. So I already have them painted silver, and they're ready to go. Notifications on my phone. Check those. Okay. I'm gonna check this real quick here. All right, so these got to go on, and they go right there, just like that. So I think I can get away with just putting a little dot of glue here. Should be all right. And then this one goes in the same spot on this side, just like that. There's no alignment pins or anything on these. You just set them down and glue them on. Okay, so those are there. Now we have our drop tanks. And they go here. Just like so. These ones I can do all kinds of sloppy gluing if I want. I don't want to do sloppy glue, but one. Put it on the right way around, that'll help. And there's two. All right. Next. Well, actually, I'm going to let that sit for just a minute. Just a minute, because Well, I don't want to turn this thing over and then have those drop tanks just fall off on me, because I'm for some reason I'm in a hurry and want to get this done, right? I'm excited to get it done, and that's kind of why I'm going through this kind of fast. Normally I would take a little more time on this, and of course, like I've said before, there are missiles that I could put down in the middle center channel here, but we're building Mavericks F-14, and well, they didn't have that particular payload, so that's the way it is. It comes with the model kit. You can put them on if you want, but like I said, I'm trying to get this thing to look as close to the plane in the movie as I can. So let's see how this all sits. And look at that, it sits just perfect. No, don't have to add any weight to the nose or anything. Perfect. I think if I put the wings on and I have them swept back, the plane might want to tilt up, I think. Now I've got one of these downstairs, and it doesn't do that. It sits perfectly, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. But some models, some planes, that is a problem. Let's see, we have a little nose piece that goes doink right in the very center on the front. Where's my snips? Okay. So I normally wait till the end of my videos to say this, but if you guys are watching this on YouTube, head on over to my Twitch and follow me on Twitch, and then you can talk to me live, just like Hakeem did. And I'll answer questions and shit like that. It's gonna go in just like that. I'm gonna clean up the very tip of this. So just got a little tiny bit of flashing on it, which is hard to get. There we go. Okay. There we go. Now, one thing that notoriously I always break off antennas and things like that on these kits. Invariably, if it's an old World War II plane with the antenna sticking out of the tail fin or something, while I'm building it, it's going to break off. I just do that. It's one of my biggest problems. We have a little ladder. The ladder, this guy here, he's going to go on the side. Again, I got to now be careful where I grab this thing when I pick it up, because everything's fresh and new. So that has a little peg that's just going to go right in there, just like that. Just like so. As I realize I'm putting a lot of pressure on that rear landing gear wheel. So I just want to make sure it's lined up properly before I throw any glue on it. I may have actually assembled this ladder wrong. But I don't think so. That looks pretty good just like that. Okay, I'm going to put some glue on there. I'll use this one. because I chose to do the option with the ladder out and the steps are out, so I gotta have that ladder. There we go. Now, another option I had was to have the canopy up like this, but I like to leave the off, like it will sit there like that on its own, just the way they designed this model. And I don't need to put the little, there's a little shock that goes right there and then goes down into that little slot there, but the canopy will sit like that all just on its own, and if you want to close it, you just kind of move it forward a little bit and there it closes, and there you go, you have your canopy closed now, right? So it's kind of cool that I always like to leave the canopies not glued, so that if at some point I want to take a look at it and really get in close, I can take the canopy off and I can really look in there at all the angles without the canopy hindering my view. And that's just me. It's what I like to do with mine. That's done. This is that little radar thingy-me-dooey that goes on the bottom of the nose. Excuse me. Of course, I've used the one from the Revell kit because, well, this is Maverick's plane. But the Revell kit, I chose not to use this one. I used a different one that comes in that kit. So done. There are a couple of little things that go on the sides that stick out. That would be these guys that I just threw over here. I don't know if you can really see them on the camera very well. Those guys, they sit on each side of the nose and they stick forward. Again, they're just little pieces that just break off all the time on me. So we have our main wings. Now, on this kit, they are enough of a pressure fit that they don't really need to be glued. Right? They don't really need glue. They could just sit like that and they're fine. They don't really, I don't think they fall off. There's enough tension on them that they won't fall off on you if you move it around, right? But at the same time, it's like, well, I don't really want them to ever come off. So I think I will just put a little bit of glue on there, just to, if the glue holds it, that's great. If the glue doesn't really hold it well, then that's okay, because there's enough tension anyway between the two pieces that the wing's not really going anywhere. So I'll just do that there. I think that's going to be plenty good enough to hold that. And I'll do the same on this one. Just a little bit on the edge. There. And I can feel already just by trying to pull a tiny little bit, the glue is holding it, so that's perfect. And then we have our tail fins with, again, there's a tiny, tiny little red dot. I'll show you on here. Tiny little red dot right there on the tip, and it's on both sides. I'm not sure what the purpose of them is. It doesn't tell me to, like, it's not, when it's a light, like up on the top of the tail fin there, or down here, it asks for clear red, right? But on those spots it didn't. So what this actually designates, I'm not sure. And there we have it. Now this goes like that. And we have our canopy. And there's our plane. Done. Maverick's plane finished. Now, I keep on hitting this stupid landing gear hook. Alright, so this plane is done. This model is finished. Ta-da! But where's the Revell version? We need to compare the two. And here we have the Revell version. And of course, this is definitely not Maverick's plane anymore. It's designation 201 with this funky little stripe on there, with the AJ tail fin decals. So here you go. So like I said before, I couldn't really do the panel lines on this one because the panel lines are all raised and I'm not going to scribe them myself. I didn't have decals for these, as you can tell by the difference in the glossiness. I painted those after. I just cut the little strips of masking tape, masked it off, and then just did a quick little spray paint of a darker gray, and so you get that kind of effect. I did the same oil wash that I did on the Tamiya, I did on this one. I just did a little bit more on this one to make it a little bit looking kind of dirty. I'll show you on this camera because this camera is higher quality. Yeah, these little inflator things are not a different color because they're not actually, there's no distinct lines on where they end on this thing. Really don't like the cockpit or the canopy. That doesn't fit at all very well on there. Come on, focus. That's just terrible. And look at that, the back there. It actually fits over top and is bigger. That needs to be trimmed. But again, there's a huge gap along the bottom, along the side. It's just a really, really terrible fit. There's the weapon pods on this one. They are done and it's complete. No landing gear, of course, because the bays are all closed. So again, it's not a terrible build, but I'm not happy with it. So there's the pod on the bottom that I chose to put on. That comes. This one also comes with the Revell kit. Come on, focus. This one also comes with the Revell kit. Clearly a little bit different than what's in the movie, but that's the way it is. And so this is the finished product of the Revell kit that I'm not happy with at all. You got the engines here, those are done, and again, you can see this nice, smooth, zero amount of detail on that when compared to the Tamiya version, which has all the detail in the world that you would want on there. Yeah, so there's the Revell kit. You can see the distinct panel line going across here because it doesn't fit together properly. The decal is kind of hiding that gap that's there. So if you throw a whole ton of decals on this thing, you can hide a lot of the imperfections, I guess. It's not a terrible kit. It's not the worst kit I've ever built. But, you know, if you watched my first go around with this one, you see what happened in the end. But, I just broke the hook off. That just came off. Yeah. So there's the Revell kit. And again, the Tamiya kit. You could say, oh, well, you just put so much more effort in the Tamiya. I didn't necessarily put that much more effort. Yes, the Tamiya kit required a lot more to be assembled, but it really was a pleasure to build the Tamiya kit. And that's really all I can say about it. The Tamiya kit is nice, and I now have a model of Maverick's F-14 that I'm happy to display and say, you know what, I spent a lot of time on this and it looks really nice. And that's really all I can say about it. There we have it. And again, it doesn't want to sit on its butt, even with the wings swept back. And there's with the wings out. Of course, I'll display it with the wings back because it just takes up too much real estate on the shelf with the wings out like that. Right? It's a really nice kit. I really do recommend this. If you really want to build Maverick's F-14, I'd buy both kits. Take the Revell kit, take the decals out, and throw the rest away, and then build the Tamiya kit. That's the way to go. Now, one thing I will say, I did screw up on this, and what I screwed up on was painting the Sparrow missiles. Okay, so if I tip this over, I painted these white with a gray tip. Okay, those guys there. Showing this camera. Okay, white block with my hand. White missile with the gray tip, and that's how it tells you to paint it in the Tamiya kit. In the Revell kit, it tells you to paint them the opposite. Paint the missile gray with a white tip. And I thought, okay, so I painted these as Tamiya because I was going through the Tamiya instructions. And, well, I decided to take a look at the couple of screenshots that I had taken, and Revell had it right. The actual missiles on the plane are gray with a white tip. Now the sidewinders are correct. The sidewinders are white with a gunmetal color tip, but in the instructions for the Revell instructions, I think they tell you to paint those missiles with olive drab. Now they want it iron colored, and then M. What is M? M. L, M. M is olive. Yeah, so they want you to paint the tip. They want you to paint. Come back here. They want you to paint that dark spot. See the M there. They want you to paint the nose olive drab, and then the fins iron colored, which is, just Google Sidewinder missiles, and you'll see they're not necessarily like that. And that's about it. That leaves it done. This is finished. Yeah, obviously I did not use all the decals in the Revell kit, and even on the Revell plane I didn't use all the decals out of the Tamiya kit. There's tons of decals that I did not use. One thing I was really debating is you putting the Navy. Okay, the Navy designation goes back under here, let's see, right about here. Okay, or no, a little bit further down, like right here, right where my finger is. Okay, doesn't come with the Revell kit. You don't get the Navy on there. But I know in looking at pictures of F-14s, you see it a lot. But looking at the planes in the movies, there's no distinct actual scene where you can see, oh yeah, it says Navy there, so I'm going to put that on there. There is a scene where you're looking at the underside, the underneath of the plane, and you can see there is something there, but it's blurry and you can't really tell. So because of that, I decided not to put the Navy decal there. So the only decal I really did use from the Tamiya kit on the Tamiya model was the Enterprise, USS Enterprise, right there. At the end of the movie, you can see Val Kilmer or Iceman is climbing out of the cockpit, and the camera is like in this position, facing him, and you can totally see the USS Enterprise on the front there. Now the kit comes with two USS Enterprise decals, but because there's no other scene where I could really see for certain whether it's on this side also, I decided just to leave it out. That's good enough, I think. In the Tamiya kit, it tells you to put USS Enterprise on the tail fin at the bottom, but you don't see that anywhere on the plane in the movie, so I went with that. Well, somebody had mentioned in one of my videos that the Tamiya plane, the decals and everything, and the paint scheme they use is what they call high vis, and the planes they used in the Top Gun movie are low vis. And so I'm not sure exactly what that means, except that the decals on the Revell kit are all gray. They're gray in color, and they're kind of muted a little bit because of that, because you're putting a gray decal on a gray plane. Case in point is the little stars and stripes that goes on the wings. It's not super big, it's not in your face kind of thing. Whereas the Tamiya or decals is like, hey, America, like, where I'm from. That's the only thing I can think of, is that's what he meant by high vis and low vis. But anyway, that's it. Done. Like I said before, if you're watching this on YouTube, head on over to my Twitch and follow me on there, and then you can get notified when I go live, and you can talk to me, ask me questions, just like Hakeem did there. And I'm happy to talk to you guys. For you guys who subscribe to me on YouTube, you guys are friggin' awesome. Thank you so much. I've reached over 100 subscribers on YouTube, and I never thought I'd really even get that far. So that's really cool. It's so awesome. It's fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. If you want to see still shots of the models I've built, I will take some pictures of this when I'm all done, and I'll upload them on my Instagram. Now, I'll put links to my Instagram and Twitch and all that in the little comment section below. And my next build is going to be Gundam. It's the RX-78-2. If you're into Gundam, well, you can watch me build the Gundams. I've got like 5 kits to build, and just getting into that whole thing of Gundams, and I'm excited to get into it and start it, and that's going to be my next thing. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited to get started on it. I think it's going to be fun, and they're really cool. Being a huge Transformers fan, transitioning into Gundam is pretty easy for me because they look like giant robots, just like the Transformers are. Anyway, with that, I'm going to leave. I'm going to take off, and I want to thank you guys again for watching. Thanks for coming out. You guys are awesome. Really makes this whole thing enjoyable, and if I can help anyone out there who might be wondering if they've got enough skill to build a model that's any good, If I can show you any tips and tricks that help you out and encourage you to give it a try and do it. It's again, you don't need to be a professional to get decent results. I've been doing this for years, and there's still little tips and tricks that I learned from watching guys on YouTube. It's, yeah. So with that, I'm going to say good day, and yeah, thanks for coming out, and we'll see you all in the next one.